Hello and welcome to part one. I'm George Call of Sunlit Trail. So this is block in, and we covered the whole canvas with value color. Started working a little bit on the shapes because it's a little bit smaller canvas than I normally work on. So the size of that canvas is a 10 by 12. And I introduced what I call the home row keys. That's my basic palette, and plus a few exotics on top of that. It's important in this beautiful country we live in to get outside and paint. If you live in the city, then you've got cityscapes, and if you live in a place like Loveland or Fort Collins, Colorado, you have lots of lakes and streams coming right through town that you can paint. Otherwise, you can go up to Rocky Mountain National Park, and that's a nice place to paint. That's where this subject matter came from, is the park. All right, so get outside and paint. Paint with your friends, get critiques, and most of all, keep painting. All right, let's get into part one of Sunlit Trail. All right, bye-bye. Hello and welcome to part one of Sunlit Trail. Today I'm working on a 10 by 12, I think, smaller than I usually have. I'm working on canvas on gator board. And good stuff. I like to work on that. I buy big sheets of it, cut it up to any size I need. Today I have my home row keys, as I call them, the blues, the reds, the warms, and I have a few exotics. I have a Viridian and a cool gray, and today I have some phthalo blue-green off to the left here. I've got some titanium white down here, and my Gamsol, as I mentioned, and this is my container of usable Gamsol. And I have my big house brush type stuff that kind of softens edges. And I have a Da Vinci, looks like a 6, and number 6 Rosemary 279. I have my two knives. One's more mixing. It's a little stiffer. This one's a little finer. It's called a connoisseur, and it's got a fine point to it. My mixing palette's a T7 by Creative Mark. I think I got that at Walmart or something. I've got a number 2, looks like a flat, long series, flat 279. And I got something I call my mop. It's my Rosemary series 278, more of a badger type material. All right. I have a big mixing area. Last week you saw I had everything cleaned and everything was white, but now after 1 week look, I get it all messed up. But we have a big mixing area, and that's the point I want to make. So let's start figuring out how to start this painting. What I see is that there's this nice row of trees coming through here, then light, and then some dark down here, shadow, mountains, and clouds. So I'm more on a portrait type shaped canvas, where if the other way this is computer talk, then it would be landscape. All right, so with that, let's make a mixture. So let's go to blue, and let's work on these big swath of trees. Let's go to transparent oxide red, blue. I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow ochre. And on one side, I'm going to add a little bit more blue and a little bit of transparent oxide red. I'm sorry, blue. I'm sorry, transparent oxide brown. That's right here. So I have one a little warmer, one a little cooler. Oh, I have to get my paper towels hung under my table here. I thought I was ready, and I apologize. Okay, that works. Now I have my paper towels handy and ready. So I'm going to go to this thing I call the mop, the 278. I'm going to put it on thin, so I added some terp to this. See, I'm getting both sides of this all done up. It seems to be thinner here and thicker here. So basically you kind of have this triangle type shape here. And I'm going to add a little bit of terp to this darker mixture. And I feel that this thing down here is going to be a little darker. And I'm going to put some darks here, running down here. I'm going to go back to the warmer mixture and fill this in a little bit better. Oh, lost my image. What's going on over here? Computer? Come on. Get busy. There it goes. What I want to do now is step back and see if my big triangle shapes are in the right place. This feels a little large, but you don't always know until you kind of put it together. I've seen some darks on the bottom here. And I'm going to attend to that. And of course there's some other trees coming up in here and doing their thing. And that should be enough for them. I don't like all these brush marks, so this kind of softens things up a little bit. Right, that takes care of that. I don't have much mixture left. It takes up a lot of space, so I'm going to move it, get it out of the way, and get ready for my next mixture. I'm trying to clean my brush here. That's what I'm doing off to the side. Gamsol's a good cleaner too. It cleans pretty good. And I'm also squeezing it, trying to get the Gamsol out of there. That's contaminated with color. All right, so now let's figure out how we can get some really good green in here. So let's go some blue. And let's get some like cad yellow medium. You can see we have a nice basic green. I'm going to put that off to the side. And now we're going to go to this lemony type stuff. And make some green. I'm going to throw some Viridian in some of this stuff. And then I'm going to mix some white off to the side. How's that for a mixture? Kind of cool. Well, actually, it's definitely cool, yeah. Green is on the cool side. And I'm doing more and more of this mixture here to see how it looks. I think that's starting to look pretty good. So let's go for that. Getting some Gamsol in my mixture, and I'm going to get that in here. You say, well, you covered up the rocks, you covered up the path. I did. We'll work on that. Don't panic. And again, I'm going to kind of go with the angle of the sun here. Sunlight coming through, and that would be a way to soften that. I'm going to pick this up, move it over to the side a little bit. And get ready for the next mixture. So it looks like I'm just going to work with a gray here. So let's go with some cold gray. This is a Remington color cold gray. Too much white. And again, let's get this moppy type brush I have here. Trying to get the green out of it. Really squeezing it. And getting ready for the next mixture. Just going to load up this whole brush. See, I'm just twirling the whole thing in that mixture. I just know there's a lot of gray up there. After this, I want to get down and carve out where that path is and carve in some rocks. And I'll be changing brushes too. Clean this out a little bit. All right, so I'm going to put my gray over here and pick up these greens. Sometimes you just have to get your paper towel down here in your glass and get this cleaned out of here. And there's nothing better than a good straight edge razor. And I like this long guy with a long handle because you don't have to get paint on your knuckles when you're trying to push down hard with a shorter one. All right, so let's see what we can do here about carving out a path. So I'm going to use this number 6 Rosemary series 279, and I think that path is over here somewhere. I think this might be too big for back there. I might need it up in here. So over here a little bit. So what I do is try to get that path in the right place without losing my nice greens. So this kind of goes out farther here. And then it kind of comes back and almost slight angle this way. It shrinks in size, actually. And then it's a little bit more off to the left. See, I'm dipping my brush over here in this terp here. And then this one kind of goes up a little bit. And then I'm going to change to a smaller brush. Here's this number 2 of the same series, 279 flats. And I know part of it's hidden here by this tree that comes up, so I will do that. Now, where do I have other rocks? Let's go work on that. Looks like we have some big honking rocks. Some various places. And I'm making suggestions where they might be. Kind of helps me later as to when I'm ready to place these things. So one kind of goes up, and the other one is a little bit more different angle. And I have some lights up in here. Kind of coming through the trees. Of course, this is too big, so I can go back probably with some of my worms here and color that in a little bit. Then there's just some various little guys here and there. I don't know why I was using the end of the brush. That's useless for this. You kind of have to mop it up here a little bit. See if I can. So small, I'm trying to just do it with the brush instead of the paper towel. All right, so I think we've successfully put the design in for the rocks. And the path. Let me see if that's making sense here. Okay, that's looking okay. Keep this thin up here. That paper towel is shot. So I'm keeping the lighter grays on top. And the darker ones on the bottom. I'm going to go back with this smaller brush. Add some terp to it. And try to get some shape in here as to where these mountains are going to be. I might change the shape just a little bit, but they're pretty level. But I might take it up just a little bit here. So I'm working with very light, soft brushes. A lot of thinner in here. And I think I need to bring some of these grays down in here. All right, we're about, 16 minutes into this? And we've got some good stuff going here. Let's go back and see what we can do with this shadow stuff. So I want to go back to kind of a gray-green, a little bit of blue in here. I went back to one of the original colors we had here and see if I could get a mixture out of it. And I think I have something sufficient enough to get started with shadows. Again, I have a lot of terp in here too. There's kind of a very important shadow right in here. He's kind of like the main shadow. And these guys kind of come together down here. I may have taken this one down too far. And I might as well. I still have some of this, put some of this up in the tree area. Darken that up just a little bit. So I've added some of this slop green I had a few minutes ago. Added some more blue to it. And a little terp. A little gamsol. So you can see I'm building up these thin layers of structure here to kind of say where things are going to be. You know, up here, this is my Alpine series. Up here in Rocky Mountain National Park and other places I've been this summer in Wyoming and the Wind Rivers. The higher you get, the skinnier these trees get at a certain elevation. They're tall and slender, and they seem to look like toothpicks, but they stand these tremendous winds. I think I'm going to put a series of maybe 3 here. I'm trying to map out where I'm going to go with this. And I'll put a single in here maybe. And we have a series of tall guys that are kind of separated. I'm going to add a little transparent oxide red to this mixture. Or, yeah, red. And these actually come down in here somewhere. So this takes some practice. You see, I just kind of dab it on here. You see how it looks so simple, but I didn't start out this way. It was hard. I said, how hard can it be to paint a tree? It certainly gives me challenges. And I'll put a smaller one out in this way. I need a little bit more of this mixture in this area. And here I need some. And now I need some of the darker mixture, so I'll go back to blue. I'm going to go to transparent oxide red. I'm mixing it right into the green slop pile I have, and I'm going to put in some more serious darks. Oh, that's a pretty. Oh, I love this. I love this guy. Oh, nice color. And where else do we need? We seem to have more of it down in this area. And of course we need some up in this area too. Then there's this couple of these guys here that seem to have a lot of color in them. think what we have here is a tree that comes in here somewhere and intersects the path right in here. So let me see what I can do about kind of make a spindly tree. This is the grandchild of the big guys up above. And I think he actually ends up into the dark. I like darks when they connect. And there's a few more trees. I think there's one particular one. So what you saw me do here so far is to kind of come in and work on where these basic values are going to be, value shapes. And then now you see me getting a little bit more determined of where my shapes are, my trees. And then I have a tree that comes down here. Can't see the top of it, but I can see the bottom of it. And I'll add some of this darker mixture to these shadows. Okay, let me get back and see how the shapes are working together. And I think with some time we may have left, let's get into this dark over here. So we have some of this gooey blue, transparent oxide red, blue, slop green in there, real dark. And I see some of that here. Various places. I better hold off on that. Let's get some sort of a darker gray thing. So let's go blue, red, and gray. Blue, transparent oxide red, back to blue, and some gray. Add some lighter stuff off to the side. This is titanium white. And let's get into the rocks. Trying to look at the reference and kind of put this side brush down and kind of show where the major, I think there's a rock, comes here, then there's a shadow coming here, and then more rocks here. I'm going to go to the lighter mixture now and put some of that on top of these rocks. There, I can see them a little bit better now. I'm going to go back to some really good darks. Seems to be one down here somewhere. Trails off this way. And now I'm going to go back and to this dark green I have and put that in a few places. I'm going to go to an even lighter gray now. Let me get a little bit of turp in here. And I'm going to put the lighter grays on the trail, just because they're more horizontal and they would reflect more light. And then there's some honkin' darks in here. So I'll go back to more brown, blue. And I got a little bit of transparent oxide brown. Dark stuff. Very dark stuff. And get some honkin' darks in here. I think I need some between some rocks. Maybe one here and here. And try to come up with some design down here. I'm wondering if that's too much dark through here. It might be good for me to run some light through here later in the painting, just to break that big dark up. I'm just thinking composition stuff. And I'm putting little of these subtle greens in here. Just little hints of these things. And then I think I'll put a big light rock right here. I think that's too straight of a design. I think one of them points out a little bit. Maybe one kind of comes out over, and I'll get him taken care of with this stroke here. And I also have some darks. I'm going to go blue, transparent oxide red, a little bit of alizarin, blue, brown. I want something dark red. And I want to get some, at least a few hints of dark on the path and below the path. Just a few places. Well, that looked crazy, didn't it? Well, those are to be dealt with, I think, in part 2. All right, I'm going to get back with the few minutes we have left and see if we are good. Okay. I am satisfied, and that is part 1. So we blocked it in, and then we actually started doing some value colors, all these darks and lights and so forth. Now I know this green is kind of a green squeaky thing, it's a little off, but I think it says light, and at least I'm starting there with light. And we'll layer over the top of it. With that, thank you for coming by for part 1 of Sunlit Path and or Trail. And I'll see you in part 2. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.